We're going to head into game one right now, where we see Hasselabs against Slush.
Slushy Slush.
Slushy Slush. It's going to be on bel'shir Beach Winter. So let's first go into the original strategy, the picking phase.
Let's do it.
Why these two players? I want to know your thoughts.
Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say that bel'shir is a pretty good map for Zerg. Would you agree?
Yes.
Or disagree?
I would absolutely agree.
So, given the fact that I know that this is, the first map of the match, and it's fairly, it's a good map for Zerg, I, as a team manager, would say, putting a Zerg first is the best idea, especially given the fact that Slush is probably one of my better players. And that puts me in a good position to start off the Clan War strong with a 1-0 lead. And it gives you good momentum going into the next matches. So that's kind of what I would be doing there.
Yeah, I think the interesting pick over here is Hasselabs, because I have to believe, you think of all the Zergs on Team Rain, it's not that many. I think Slush might be the only one. Am I correct?
Gix, but he doesn't really play in that many of the matches. So it's pretty much been
Slush is the only Zerg, so he's going to go on bel'shir Beach. We do have other Zergs in Mount. Actually, we don't have other Zergs.
Well, there's Biggs and then there's Morrow, but Morrow plays TVZ. So if they thought that Slush is going on this map, perhaps they didn't want to have Morrow playing a TVZ on bel'shir.
Yeah, but that leaves Biggs, or in this case, they actually chose Hasselabs.
Right.
And it's a very interesting pick to do Hasselabs, because obviously he is Protoss, so the map is relatively harder, I think, than other maps. But I think this is interesting because to send out a Protoss, and particularly Hasselabs, makes a statement. It says, I'm going to send out a Protoss in this map, sniping Slush. It's specifically meant for sniping Slush if they did this correct, and I'm sure they did. Where they know Slush is going to be chosen on this map, they go through their whole roster and say who's going to be a sure win, because they're not going to put a player on a map unless they think that it's going to be in their favor to actually win the match.
Right, and I think Hasselabs is a good choice here because he's a very, very standard player, and Slush oftentimes he's kind of, I would characterize his play style as sort of similar to a player like Leenock or Lucky, in that they're characterized by super aggression. And I think the fact that Mouz is sending a player who's known to be very, very safe and standard is the perfect sort of counter to Rain sending out Slush. So I definitely like the choice from Mouz. And yeah, do see Hasselabs is opening up with the standard build. He did get a pylon block over at the natural, so Slush's natural expansion is going to be slightly delayed. You can see Hasselabs' Nexus is, about 10-15 seconds ahead of Slush's, and Hasselabs is putting down his double gas as well. So,
yep, this is all pretty standard play coming out from both these players. We're going to see that Hasselabs actually cancel a little bit early. Zerg will not be let in. And that's pretty clutch. Now this gateway will be eventually canceled as soon as this gateway comes up. And then he'll throw down that cybernetics core. That's most likely what we see, but it could be 2-gate zealot pressure. But nope, there you go.
You were correct, Sir Andre. You were indeed correct. So he does put that cybernetics core down. His Nexus is done as well, so he's probably going to be transferring a few probes over in a minute. Actually, no, because he got the early double gas, he's probably not going to really transfer. I don't know.
I'm not a huge fan of transferring at this stage.
Right.
The main reason is because you don't actually lose any minerals mining over here. You can see that it's a total of 12 right now. Right. You actually start to diminish in return when you hit greater than 16. So I would have liked him just to keep probes there. But the only reason why you would actually transfer at this stage is because you need maybe extra probes over here to defend against some sort of all-in that is safe. I do that sometimes. So I don't hate it. I don't like it. I don't hate it. It's right in the middle. It's right in the middle.
Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, we do have Slush getting that super early third. It's quite a bit earlier than a player would normally take it, and I definitely like that. We do have a little bit of a harass here from Hasselabs, killing one drone in the main base of Slush, and he's going to get a second drone as well, and possibly a third. There are 3 drones that are pretty weak right now, but it looks like Slush is going to be holding this off. Although Hasselabs did get...
Oh, God, no.
Oh, wow. He got the 3rd drone as well. And he might even get a 4th if he can control this. No, he does not. But that being said, Hasselhoffs did get 3 drones there, which is actually pretty significant. You know, he also delayed the mining time from Slush for a little bit as well. So, you know, that was a pretty effective Zealot, I would say.
Oh, even more so just because he delayed his opponent's gas for so long. You can see Slush going up to 4 gas at this stage. He's on 51 supply going up to 4 gas. This is not a common opening to get this many gases so fast. Normally you just start to scale with I don't know, time. You don't go so many gas so fast, because if he commits all 12 drones to gas, that's going to constitute a very hefty portion of his income. You can see he's at 47, now 53 harvesters. He's increasing pretty fast. But originally at, you know, 40 or 30, that's about a third, a fourth of your...
Yeah, I agree, and I think this like what Slush did here is forcing him to really overcommit on drones right now. And if Hasselhoffs had gone for something like you know, a really aggressive kind of 4 to 6 gate push, Slush would actually be in a little bit of trouble. But you know, luckily Hasselhoffs isn't being super aggressive here, so Slush can kind of get away with being a little bit greedy when he normally would not have been able to do that.
Well, we do see 3 gateways and a robotics facility going down for Hasselhoffs. So he's setting up. This could very well be just absolute standard play. I don't think that it really screams some sort of early aggression. I could see Hasselhoffs just going for the later game stages. I know his end game is really good. I've seen him play, especially against Demaga. That's what really sticks out in my mind. His matches against Demaga, where, you know, things were pretty even the whole time. He looked really good. I think he's very comfortable with his endgame stage. He has those precise timings. He knows exactly when to attack, when not to attack. And I'm sure if I'm Hasselhoffs in this stage, I'm just going to say, okay, Slush, I'm going to play you to that endgame and outplay you there.
Yeah, I actually really like what Hasselhoffs is doing here. He actually saw the Overlord. He used a hallucinated Phoenix to kill an Overlord that was hiding in sort of like the little invisible crevice in the main base. Kind of like that. It's just a small, subtle move.
Yeah, it often helps. Yep. We see a hallucinated Phoenix is going to enter in the base of Slush. Let's see what he sees. Nothing of too much importance. He does see the lair, but Roach, Evolution Chamber, everything's pretty standard. Nothing out of the ordinary. What he's looking for with that hallucinated Phoenix is the army count, and on top of that, he's also looking for an infestation pit.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. He basically wants to see, is he going Spire and Mutatech, or is he going to go for the Infestor play? And as far as I know, let's see, if we look at Hasselhoffs' vision, he actually did not scout the Infestation Pit that we can see here at the 3rd base of Slush. I actually like the fact that Slush put it there, but there is another Phoenix that actually just missed the Infestation Pit.
Yeah.
So a little bit unlucky there by Hasselhoffs, but you know, he does see the army count from Slush, which is pretty important. He sees a lot of roaches, and actually Slush is taking this time to push out with those roaches. He has a lot of them, 28 roaches, and he's also up to 72 drones as well.
Oh, wow. And Hasselhoffs looks like he wants to meet up with this. He only has 1 single Immortal, but the power of those Stalkers and Sentries coupled with the Immortal is very strong, so he will be able to force Slush back surprisingly. You can see the supply is 163 to 106, but yep, there you go. Hasselhoffs just going to take his expansion, puts up 3 cannons over there, probably take a defensive pose, and try to just receive his opponent as well as he can, because I think he's reading Mass Roach Zergling at this point and just trying to deny his expansion. But unfortunately for him, Slush is going for that 4th base. He's not going for this all-in, and there's really no reason, I think, to play so passive. But it's going to like negate both of these players. There's no advantage. There's no disadvantage for either of the players. It just, you know, both of them are macroing. That's fine.
Right. And you know, if... You know, Hasselhoffs actually doesn't have that many sentries. He only has 6 of them, which means that his force fields are going to be a little bit limited. So what Slush can do is really take advantage of the fact that his army count is so much higher than Hasselhoffs. If he chooses to be really aggressive right here, it's going to be a little bit dangerous for Haswabs if Slush has really good micro, because he's going to run out of force fields after probably the first kind of mini engagement, unless he gets more sentries or Slush doesn't decide to be aggressive, which actually he's not doing right now. I don't really understand this decision by Slush because he is maxed, and he does have that 4th base secured. So what I would do if I was Slush is just immediately go for an attack and then saturate my 4th and then rebuild my army, because I can afford to trade more than Haswabs can right now.
Yeah, I think attacks from here are going to be very good. I mean, there's this small little window before the Colossus actually comes out, but once this Colossus pops, which will be in just about 5 seconds, the Colossus will be able to do a lot of damage to this army composition. Zergling Roach does not do well, even with the Infestors out. You don't do well against Colossus. It's just the Colossus has way too much burst damage, and it removes a lot of those key component units that are so important, which are mainly the Zerglings for tanking damage, and then the Roaches for outputting damage, and also the Infestors for supporting. The Colossus can range any of those units. It's very efficient, so as long as he chooses the right places, he'll be really good. Attacking into this narrow little place is not good, let me tell you that.
Yeah, and that being said, Extended Thermal Lance is not yet finished. Oh wow, really nice dual parasite. This is a really good job by Slush. He's actually walking the Colossus into his own units and just killed it, which I think is a really clever move by Slush. And Slush is barreling down here into the choke of the natural expansion. I'm not sure I like that decision because it's such a small choke. And nice force fields by Haswabs, but his sentries are getting close to being out of energy. So if Slush sends a nice group of reinforcement right now, he can be in good shape. He's actually building 50 Zerglings right now. He does have a lot of energy on those Infestors. But that being said, really nice micro by Haswabs, and Slush is going to be forced to... Yeah, he's going to lose all those units.
And that's going to be crippling. Losing those Infestors are the worst possible situation. Now, you can see out of that trade, what Slush is trying to accomplish with that is have a lull. And this is very common when Zergs will trade out and the Protoss has to remake, or the Terran has to remake, whatever it is. And that's where you say, okay, I can tech to Broodlords. You can already see that the Greater Spire is just about 3/4 of the way done, and he is just trying to gun towards that composition. And if he can get there, he'll be really good. But I think there should be, a lot of Blinkstalkers around the map to help out quite a bit. I don't think the Broodlords will be nearly as powerful just because the Infestors were taken out in that engagement. If he got burrowed, that would have been a completely different story. But losing those Infestors definitely loses a lot of power at that end game stage with these Broodlords.
Yeah, because now Slush pretty much only has a lot of Zerglings, but the fact that Haswabs is such a passive and defensive player means that he's not going to really be able to be effective with these Zerglings. I mean, usually what a Zerg player in this situation wants to do is go for a lot of run-bys and counterattacks, but Haswabs is just playing super safely, and he's not really, if Slush right now can go around to the 4th of Haswabs, he'd be in good position, but Haswabs has such a nice army count that he can't really afford to leave those Zerglings away from his base, because Haswabs could then go for a very deadly counterattack. So Slush is kind of stuck between a little bit of a rock and a hard place right now.
Yeah, what Haswabs wants to do at this point is allow the main and natural to actually mine out. And if he can just have good trades, he can focus all of his pushes in the top right-hand corner. He has a single push direction, and that's it. It's going to make it very easy for the Protoss army, the ball that we see so many times, do so well. Whereas Slush really hasn't utilized the map. I mean, you can see his Broodlords, this fast Broodlords. The decision to go this kind of negates the fact that this map is a bi-directional map. You have 2 different directions where you can attack from. That makes counterattacks very powerful. So we're seeing very limited use of the map. Slush is just deciding to barrel down with his army composition, but we'll see if this does any damage. It's going to be, I think, a little bit hard to. You can see Fleet Beacon underway. High Templars are on the way out right now, and I'm sure Archons will be morphed momentarily, but the Broodlord's doing a little bit of damage here, and I just don't know if it's going to be enough. It's going to be very difficult to tell, just because, as we said, all the components that we've seen before with not only the Zergling count, the mass Zergling count, but no Infestors out in the field, really.
And yeah, now if you look at this, Slush is just caught in a terrible position. He's fighting so off creep, he can't really do much. He has to kind of engage here, and this is a great position for Haswabs. Basically, Slush is fighting on Haswabs' turf. And yeah, I mean, he's doing a great job against this army. He's pretty much cleaning house in this battle right now.
Yeah.
Only 2 Broodlords remain, and those are going to get taken out super easily because all their support is gone. And if you look at what happened, Slush was able to take down a Forge, 3 cannons, a Cybernetics core, and a little bit of army. And that's pretty much all he got out of that exchange. He does have a 5th base, but it's not saturated at all. And, you know, I don't think Slush is in the best position right now.
No.
Hasselhoff is looking really good.
He's in a huge losing position. The biggest problem right now is that Hasselhoff just gets stronger out of this. He gets the Mothership, he gets High Templars, he gets more Archons. He was able to keep his Colossus alive. That gives him the ability to have a lot more disposable income with that gas. That helps out so much.
Here comes a counterattack at the 5th base with a small group of Zealots, and I really like that. He's most likely going to be able to take down this hatchery or not. What I would do if I was Slush, I would just mass spine crawlers at my bases right now, because that basically makes the Protoss player double think any aggression that he wants to do. And then I would just really try to go for a lot of counterattacks right now, because Slush can't really fight an army of Hasselhoffs head on right now because his composition is so good right now. He's got Sockers, he's got Sentry, he has Archon, and he has lots of Colossi.
Yep, there we go. Roaches are barreling down here. Now, what he's trying to do in this composition now, Slush is very intelligently identifying the problem that he cannot go Broodlords just because the army composition for Hasselhoff is way too good. You need to remove this Colossus from the field, and then it empowers the Broodlings, actually. And the Broodlings do a surprising amount of damage, more so in tanking than in actual DPS. That's where they're able to really shine, because obviously they're free. They only cost a little bit of time. It's not even energy, just straight out time attacks. And they actually receive a lot of damage. I mean, it's hard to kill Broodlings. The Stalkers have to kind of fire. There's overkill on them, and you're basically getting free HP for nothing.
Yep. And that being said, we do have a Mothership out on the map right now. Hasselhoff did a great job with Blink Stalkers, kind of denying expansions from Slush. He did take out that 5th base with a couple more Zealots as well. So Slush is actually sitting on 4 base versus 4 base right now, and Hasselhoff is comfortably taking his 5th. So Hasselhoff is in a great position right now. Slush does have a lot of bank. He's got about 3,500 minerals banked, but if he loses one more army, that bank is going to disappear really quickly, and then Hasselhoff's economy is going to kick up once he gets that 5th running, and then he'll be in a dominant economic position. So Slush is putting up his spines now, but I think it's a little bit late, and Hasselhoff is here near the middle of the map, those middle expansions, with his Mothership, lots of Colossi, and he's kind of outranging these building spines, and they're not going to be able to get completed.
Yeah, the biggest trouble with this position right now for Slush, he didn't remove the Colossus from the field, and that timing can only be done when the Mothership isn't out. He doesn't have a lot of support over there, so I think the Roach Corruptors would have been better if he traded right there. Now, all it takes is one amazing Neural Parasite on that Mothership, and he gets back into the game.
Yep. And as we've seen, he does have the Neural Parasite. He used it on the Colossus earlier. And yeah, this just shows how great of a player Hasselhoff is. He's just been so careful with his units throughout the game. He's actually only lost like 1 or 2 Colossi. But meanwhile, we do have DTs at the 5th base of Slush. And there's actually no detection anywhere nearby. So these DTs took out 2 spine crawlers. And meanwhile, we do have more action in the middle of the map. Hasselhoff's taking out another expansion attempt by Slush. So Hasselhoff is just doing a great job of denying Slush at every turn.
A couple of probes are going to be sent in, actually, just to free up some supply. That's the purpose of that. Roaches and Infestors are going to be blindsided over here.
Don't like this attack at all.
Crap. And there are no Overseers around to actually help out the Fungal Parasite. Or the Fungal Growth will help out a little bit because it does reveal, but it's not going to be enough. You can see the Roaches get cleaned up very easily. In the meantime, the Broodlords are showing out a lot of damage over at the main, but you can see this is where the infrastructure is by the 3rd. A lot of the gateways, the majority of the gateways are over there. Now the Broodlords might be caught out of position right now. And yeah, they are. They're going to die.
Yep. 3 Broodlords get taken out. Only 4 remaining, and this 5th base only has 2 spines and 3 Broodlords at it. So that 5th is going to get taken out again, which means that, you know, Hasselhoff's has taken out this 5th base like 4 times already in the game. And Slush is just not able. You can see, just as I mentioned earlier, his bank is now completely depleted. So Slush is maxed again, but he doesn't have enough money to remax at this point. But we do have a counterattack by Slush over at the 5th base of Hasselhoff, but again, it's so well defended that he can't really do anything. And for some reason, Slush is not bringing Overseers with his army, despite the fact that he knows that Hasselhoff is really abusing DTs right now.
Hasselhoff's just playing fantastic. I mean, the way he's positioning his units, the way he's actually attacking, it is just superior and just smashing his opponent. I mean, Slush has no response to anything. You can see that. Ooh,
Carriers.
Yeah, 2 carriers are on the way out right now, but it looks like, I mean, these roaches are doing good damage. They're cleaning up a lot over here. Overseer's going to get over here to actually see stuff that's going on, but Slush knows it's too much. And there it is, GG. We have a 1-0 lead out for Team Mouz.
Yep.
And it looks like the choice to snipe Slush with that
yeah, it worked out really well.
The right decision.
Yeah, I think Hasselhoff just played that phenomenally.
Yeah, he just basically flat out outplayed him. You know, it's weird because Slush didn't actually utilize the map to his advantage. As we were talking about counterattacking options, you take advantage of the 3rd. It's a line expansion, and what I mean by that is taking the 3rd, it increases the amount of perimeter. It doesn't, like something like Antigua Shipyard, if you take your 3rd, it actually protects your natural at the same time, so you only have to defend really 2 main areas in terms of drops and stuff like that. But we have a line for bel'shir Beach. He didn't utilize that. We didn't see Nidus Worms. We didn't see drops. We didn't see mutas, anything like that. Got a little chill. And he just went up to Broodlords. And going Broodlords on that map, it's okay, but...
Right, because his creep wasn't even extended halfway across the map. And at that point, you know, his Broodlords were so naked. As soon as he lost his ground army, it was over. Yeah.
And that's where you basically saw it, where Hasselhoff just played to the end game. It wasn't an advantage or a disadvantage for either of the players, but Hasselhoff's knowing and understanding where his advantages are, seeing that he kept his Colossus alive for so long, he was able to ride that out and take a nice W for the first game.
Definitely, and we will get into game 2 after a short break, so stick around. We've got Axlav versus Biggs coming up
after this.